Now, let's go to Mark somewhere in Essex. Go ahead, Mark.
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You're on the air. Thanks.
Good. Well, firstly, before my battery in my mobile phone dies, I'm sat up on lay-by and I'm listening to your show, and I've got to say that I'm actually angered by what you're saying about the House of Lords. We're in dire jeopardy. This country is in dire jeopardy of losing too much of its identity to make way to a new beginning. We need to still have an identity of who we are in the world. We're probably one of the fewest countries who has a ruling house in such a fashion. Now, I'm not saying...
You're having a laugh here, Mark. Is this a wind-up?
Hold on. You've asked for an opinion. I'm giving you an opinion. I'm not saying that we should hold on to fragments of a decadent past. And this is where I could justify saying this. People such as members of the House of Lords who do commit crimes and then go to prison and still have ruling seats in there should be stripped of their titles. Originally, from what I can gather, the House of Lords was an old feudal system where the monarchy of the time bestowed titles and privileges on to people who did something for the country.
But that was abolished 10 years ago.
However, those people that are in there that have these seats and still hold on these seats and commit crimes should be removed.
No, never mind about let's leave the crimes aside, Mark. The poll tax was voted through by the House of Lords in their hundreds, because that was before the abolition of hereditary peers, people who literally came off the grouse moors, off the great estates, to vote through a tax whereby their gardener would pay the same amount of tax as dukes did. Is that the kind of tradition you want to pay homage to?
Did I say at any point that they do the right thing all the time?
Well,
no.
Let's ask another question then. Let me ask it another way. When you look at the House of Lords, let's say the members that you've seen secretly videotaped by the Sunday Times this week, did you think that they were a part of our heritage, or did you think that they were grubby, superannuated political hacks given a job in the upper house for reasons of internal politics?
Like I've said, members of the House of Lords should be doing good for this country. Anybody who is found to be being corrupt and not upholding the beliefs that the monarchy, our Majesty, the Queen, has bestowed upon them, should be removed. They're not doing her justice.
Mark, the Queen,
to help us.
Mark, the Queen doesn't even know their names. She didn't appoint them to the House of Lords. The Prime Minister did. You're living in some kind of ruritarian dream world. You think our Majesty is involved in picking people for the House of Lords. Where are you living, man?
No. I didn't say our Majesty.
You did.
The monarchy, at some point, has given these people, their families, their names, their titles.
Listen, Mark.
So you're telling me... Hold on a second.
Mark.
You're actually telling me, then, that my heritage... I came over from Denmark, well, not me personally, my family did, in the 9th century. We worked hard as commoners.
In the 9th century?
Hold on, yeah, in the 9th century,
How do you know you came over from Denmark in the 9th century?
Yeah, because I traced my family history.
Well, that's one hell of a job of tracing. But Mark, you know the saying that a little knowledge is dangerous? That's what you're displaying now. The House of Lords you're describing, chosen by our Majesty, was abolished in 1999. None of these nobles, none of these dukes, none of these great aristocrats that you, with your Danish heritage, perversely seem to revere, are any longer in the House of Lords. The House of Lords is now chosen overwhelmingly by the Prime Minister, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown. He picks his pals. In Blair's case, he picked his flatmates and put them right into the cabinet. If we didn't have the House of
Lords, we wouldn't have laws in this country.
Why would that be?
Well, they help set out the laws to make them just and fair to all of the people of this country.
Tony Blair's flatmate. Tony Blair's flatmate is required to make just laws in this country.
The fact of the matter is this, though, however, you're using this as an excuse to have another stab at the House of Lords, aren't you?
Listen, I've opposed the House of Lords all my life when it was filled...
You're using this the opportunity again to have another stab at them, aren't you? When really what you should be doing is you should be doing the courageous thing and trying to sort this out and not just ridicule and put down.
Well, I don't think we should use the word stab, especially on this evening. I'm laying out my case...
Sorry, yeah, I do apologise about that.
I'm laying out my case against an unelected, irremovable House of Cronies, because that's what it is. You are lingering...
Whatever Mark, the House of Lords eventually becomes...
Mark, let me finish.
We need to be careful about losing what is probably the last vestige of the United Kingdom that we have left.
Well, I don't know.
Our identity.
I don't know if you're sitting there in a beefeater costume to make up for the fact that that 11 centuries ago your family were from Denmark.
No,
you sound like a beefeater, if I may say so. But you're living in...
I'm a commoner, mate.
You're living in a dream world. The House of Lords you're talking about
I wish
no
I was
longer
living
exists.
in a dream world, mate.
Mark, it no longer exists. The House of Lords is filled with cronies appointed by Gordon Brown. Are you a big admirer of Gordon Brown?
I think that's another question, really.
Well,
I think he's certainly the person that probably can get us out of the mess that we're in at the moment.
Well, maybe so. But do you think that he should be able to pick his pals and put them into the House of Lords? And you think that that's somehow part of our heritage?
No.
Well, that's exactly what the House of Lords is. Take a look, man. Learn your history.